What's good? Welcome back, everybody. I hope you all had a great New Year's Eve. I took a couple days off after the bowl game, and now today I'm ready to go ahead and talk about it. Unfortunately, the Gamecocks fell to Notre Dame 45-38. They are basically probably going to end up ranked 25th, if at all, but was still a very entertaining game. There's a lot of exciting moments for it. Unfortunately, it just seemed like the defense really kind of was on the field way too long in that second half. The offense sputtered out in that second half, especially the third quarter there and the beginning of the fourth quarter. They had multiple opportunities to score. They went three or four drives in a row without getting a first down. So the defense just got very tired. Notre Dame, 294 rushing or passing yards, and they were able to run it for 264 total rushing yards as well, as opposed to our 287 passing and 65 rushing. So our passing defense wasn't that great, but it was tremendously better than our rushing defense. And as far as I remember from watching the game, I believe about 200 of those rushing yards came in the second half alone for Notre Dame. So it was a change of scenery for the Gamecocks. We haven't played a team like the Fighting Irish in a little bit, and both teams had a fairly clean matchup until you get there to the end of the fourth quarter. The Gamecocks finished with 8 penalties as opposed to Notre Dame only having 4, and I'm not going to blame it on the refs. We should have never been in that game-winning situation either, but there were some very questionable calls by the referees. Notre Dame finished the game with the 36-minute time of possession as opposed to our 23-minute time of possession, so we did not get ourselves or prepare ourselves to play as well as we could have, and we did not prepare ourselves to win the game. Tyler Buckner gifted us 3 interceptions, 2 of which went back for a touchdown. He also gifted Notre Dame 3 touchdowns, including the game-winning wide open. I could have made the pass touchdown to win the game. Audric Estime had 14 carries for 95 yards. Logan Diggs had 13 for 89 and a touchdown. Tyler Buckner, 12 for 61 and 2 touchdowns, even though he hasn't played since very early on in the season. Receiving-wise, Notre Dame spread it around a good bit. The Gamecocks defense really struggled to get anything consistently going. Spencer Rattler had an okay game. 29 for 46, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Obviously, you would have liked for him to play a little bit better. He had moments there where it seemed like he was going to be, going for a shorter route, and he just launched it deep downfield. A lot of our drives there in that second half that stalled out very quickly, I felt like could have been called a little bit better by Freddie Kitchens and company. It seemed like their main tendency was first down, launch it deep downfield. Second down, if we don't complete that, then you go to a shorter pass. And then third down, you got to go based off of where you're at. And unfortunately, when you don't complete the first down throw, Spencer Rattler misses a few of those shorter passes on second down. You leave yourself with a lot of 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 scenarios, 3rd and 10 scenarios, or even longer depending on sacks. And yeah, the Gamecocks just didn't quite execute as much as they should have. Kai Kroger did have that beautiful fake field goal touchdown pass to Hunter Rogers, the long snapper. So a very good game for him. Juju McDowell led the team with 6 carries for 28 yards. Didn't really think he was doing that well on the offensive side, but then again, Spencer Rattler was basically our best rusher with 7 runs for 27 yards. We struggled a ton to get anything going on the ground. Xavier Legette through the air, though, 7 for 78 and 2 touchdowns. Nate Atkins, 5 for 78 before he unfortunately got hurt. He did come back later in the game. Dak Joyner, 3 for 35. Juice Wells, 5 for 30, and Hunter Rogers, obviously I said, 1 for 23 and a touchdown. Outside of that, Amarion Brown with the 1 fumble there early in that first quarter. The defense played, like I've said, they've played okay. 2 touchdowns, both of those pick sixes. They just were stranded on the field for way too long. And I'm not too disappointed by the outcome. You've got to take into account on both sides when you have bowl games like this. There's a lot of people missing both sides. Notre Dame was missing some defensive starters. They had a lot of their offense back, but they were missing some receivers and tight ends there, mainly their starting tight end. So both teams were shorthanded. The Gamecocks and Notre Dame were trying to put freshmen in there to get them some experience. So you've got to understand that when you go into a bowl game. And they both fought hard. Both teams deserved to win that game. And the final came up 45-38. Carolina fell just a few yards short there at the end of the drive. And I do want to talk about and address that final drive there because there were some very ticky-tacky calls, in my opinion, that they hadn't really been calling all day long. I think the refs could have been a lot better as far as, actually calling penalties. There were a lot of maybe they should have called that, or maybe they shouldn't have called that, but they did all of a sudden, and it seemed like a lot of those penalties went the way against Carolina. A couple of those blindside blocks. The first blindside block in the first half, obviously, in my opinion, a blindside block. The second one, I was a little more skeptical of. Then you get to that drive, and you have intentional grounding on Spencer Rattler. You could argue maybe it wasn't, maybe it was. I don't really think it was a terrible, terrible call. I think that's a kind of a wishy-washy call there, especially with the way he's getting brought down to the ground by the defensive lineman. On top of that, probably the biggest hit of the game there on that final drive, the 2-minute drive. The Notre Dame player just lays on top of Spencer Rattler, prevents him from getting up. The offensive lineman comes in to pick him up. The dude resists and falls back down on top of Spencer Rattler. So he's not letting us get into our 2-minute drill. He's not letting us hurry up back to the line. Instead, Juju McDowell has to come in to shove him off of Spencer Rattler in order to get him off of Spencer Rattler. The guy, obviously you're going to flop if you want to get the penalty. Obviously the ref causes a penalty. All of the sudden, out of nowhere, they want to call flags. It seemed like there was about 3 or 4 penalties there on that final drive. And all of them basically went against Carolina. It was very, very frustrating to watch. But like I said, good game to Notre Dame fans, good game to the Notre Dame players. It was a hard-fought game. Whether the penalties affected it or not, you can't really say because we shouldn't have been in that situation. Anyways, Notre Dame essentially gave us 3 opportunities there to put the game away. We were up 21-7 at the end of the first quarter, I believe, and it just didn't go the way you would have expected it to, and it didn't actually end up the way you would have expected it to, facing off of against a short-handed Notre Dame offense. But bounce back next year. Starting next year, we will have a new team, a new group of players, a lot of people returning, but also a lot of new faces on the offense and on the defense. And I'm excited to see what we can do. Obviously, I'm going to be keeping you guys up to date on news, whether or not Spencer Rattler returns, whether or not Juice Wells returns, all of that stuff and more. If you hit the like button and subscribe, turn on post notifications so you never miss any of our Gamecock Talk videos, as I try to keep it up to date as much as possible. And if you do enjoy simulation or realistic simulation franchise dynasty sports on, NCAA 14, NBA 2K, Madden, check out this playlist right here, my Gamecock Dynasty I've got going on. Might be a little slower on uploads across the next few weeks just because I'm getting back into full-time college. Right now I'm on winter break. Last semester I was full-time. I've been full-time this entire time, but I'm actually transferring from community college to a 4-year online USC upstate program, but it's still going to be full-time. So maybe expect a little slower uploads. I'm going to try and keep it at, at least 1 a week, but if I can't do it, I apologize for not being consistent, but I hope you guys will bear with me on that so we can get into the summer and then sling all the uploads that I want out over the summer as my hair continues to mess up. Anyways, thank you all for watching this one. Thank you for a great Gamecock season. I know I started about a few weeks into the season, but I'm just very happy with how these recap videos has turned out, and I just can't wait to do it next year. So I will see you guys next time.